Hello, people. Hello, people. We are live. We are live. This is another episode of Sports Talk. Something different. We have Agastya here. How you doing today?
Good, man. It's been a great night, King. It's obviously we haven't streamed for a couple of days, but in the sports world, man, everything, the sports world is 24/7. It never sleeps, does it? Like the transfer market. So I hope you're doing good, King, and I cannot wait for this episode.
Yeah. I think we'll start with a bit of football. Obviously, your team, Man United. Yeah, Usyk is the goat. Yeah, we will be talking about that in a bit as well. We will be talking about Big Up Kai Talks United. But we'll go to United at first. Did you have a chance to catch the preseason game against Leeds at all?
I did, and can I bring an anecdote real quick? I went out
Yeah.
partying, that's why I'm in this fit. They were actually showing the game where I went, which was funny. So
Okay.
I managed to catch some of the game. Uh guys, is there anything to talk about really? King, did you watch the game?
Oh no. It's preseason. I don't watch
I think the result
preseason
speaks
content.
volumes, doesn't it?
And what a 0-0?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there have been some entertaining nil-nils in the Premier League over the last few
Yeah,
years and
definitely.
continuing, but this result, nothing much. I think the highlight of the week from a Man United fan's perspective is Embuemo. Finally,
Oh
a
yeah.
signing I didn't think I would see in my lifetime. Personally, I was like, oh my god, the first time we got word that we were interested in Embuemo, Man United were interested in Embuemo, was I think June, the first week of June.
Yeah.
That was when David Ornstein broke the news. And I was like, okay, you know what? That's interesting. That's good. We're a little bit ambitious. Obviously, I know under this Ineos/Glazers regime, we're obviously compromised because the club is a commercial club. It's a corporate club. It's not a competitive club. It's not built with the DNA that the Sir Alex Ferguson, the David Gill United was built under, at least before the Glazers. But I was like, okay, we'll get Embuemo, we'll get Cunha. We might have an ambitious summer. We might push towards the Champions League again. But June 3rd to today, the date, King, is where I'm at, the 20th of July. It's been almost a month and a half. And the fact that we just got the here we go is same old for Man United. It's, yes, we pursue a target, but we're going to use every superlative in the dictionary. We're considering, we're contemplating, we're signing, we're approaching, we're in advanced talks. Oh my God, finally, here we go. So, yes, as much as I'm glad that we finally signed Brian Mbeumo, who is a tremendous player from Brentford, one of their best players in their club's history, no doubt about it, and who's led Brentford to Europe, or at least the European places, um, it's little too late. The fact that we've got Cunha and Mbeumo, while Liverpool, I would say historically and from a stature, from a reach, from a revenue standpoint, the club that we mirror and we match with, they've got Florian Wirtz, right? They've got Frimpong, and they've got Etakite. Have they gotten any other signing?
Ekitike is nearly there. They did get Kirkez. They got obviously Marmashdili, who they bought previously, but he was on loan, so he's coming in the goalkeeper position. Anyone else did they get? So they got a left back, a right back. They got their 10. They have another keeper coming in. They did sell what's his name, Kelleher. So they made money off him. So they replaced him with Mohamed Dashvili. I don't think they've signed anyone else. I think Ikatike seems to be one that looks like could happen for them. Let me see. I think they're looking to sell Luis Diaz to Bayern and probably bring in maybe someone like Rodrigo in return. That's what the rumors are saying.
Which, can I just add, if you were to look at those clubs without looking at their progress from last season, their performance and results from last season, you would think Liverpool are in a worse position because they've made the better signings, they've made the
Mhm.
more signings, they've made the bigger signings. Yet Liverpool were the ones that won the league. United were the ones that finished on the precipice of relegation, literally right above the relegation zone. So that should tell you everything we need to know. At the end of the day, guys, as much as I love Man United, King, when you ask me, I'm a Man United fan. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I don't want to know what you're talking about. I want to forget that I'm a United fan. Escapism for me. So yeah, we're a commercial club, and this season I do think we'll do well. I think we'll finish top 10. A miracle, honestly, a miracle. But that's as much as it is. I think Liverpool, we should eye. I say this, King. I do streams with you about Formula One.
Yeah,
I've talked to you about tennis before. Obviously, we
yeah,
talk politics all the time. Um, if you're the biggest and the best club in terms of reach, in terms of ratings, in terms of revenue, you should always and solely be aspiring to finish first. That's how I view Man United. No excuse there, especially when you're in football, pay to win sport, basically, right? Let's cut the bullshit. Let's cut the fourth wall. Pay to win sport. Um, if we are competing for top 10 as Man United, we failed. So that's what I have to say. As a Man United fan, I'm not optimistic at all. But obviously, Embuemo and Cunha are great signings.
yeah. They're great starts. I think it's not enough. Obviously, your midfield is a bit iffy at the moment. Your defense here or there. You probably need a couple wing backs, a couple centre mids. Goalkeeper position is another position that needs to be upgraded for the most part. But yeah, you know, that was a good insight in terms of your feeling towards your club. But you know what? There's not really much else in terms of the men's game. Obviously, Club World Cup is done now. Chelsea are the world champions. Where at the moment there's the women's Euros. Um, so I was checking that out. I did a watch along for the England game that went to penalties. They came from behind against Sweden. Another game that went to penalties was a game today, France versus Germany, and Germany won on penalties, even with down to 10 men. I will be doing watch alongs for the semi-finals. We now know the semi-finals are to be England versus Italy and Spain versus Germany. So it will be interesting to see who gets to the final. What teams make it through. I think in terms of the England, and I would say this: watching the England's women game, I will say this for the most part. I feel like the football level is good. There does need to be made changes for it to be more competitive going in the long run, and I feel like there needs to be more eyes on the sport as in general as a whole. Because for me, I think it should be looked at as a bigger thing. I think, especially the way the England women. What did I do? I don't know what I did.
You added a box.
I don't know how to take this box away.
Are you boxing me
Um,
out, King? Box. Change person? Nope.
I don't know what happened there.
Whatever you did, you were very creative.
I think it's like a comment box. Nah, it isn't.
You know what would
But
be nice? If Liam joined right now, box. No. Sorry.
uh, I do not know what I pressed for that box to come up. But
Well,
it is what
it
it
looks
is. It looks fun. It looks funny. But yeah, I think with the women's game, that for me it was exciting watching the two games today. Obviously, the game today and then the game against the English game against Sweden. Sweden came in with two early goals. England came back. Chloe Kelly with a brilliant performance. But yeah, that's really it. I have to say in terms of the women's. Is there any other sports that you've been watching recently that you're interested in to talk about?
No, I mean, I'll just say this real quick. I don't want to talk about it because I don't know shit about it. Rugby. Apparently, the King. Do you follow rugby at all?
A little bit, I do.
There was a game between New Zealand, the All Blacks, and South Africa earlier
Mhm.
today, literally 4 hours ago. There was a title involved. To anyone in the chat watching, because King and I don't follow rugby, there was some game and everyone at Khao San Road where I went, which is like the premier, the most prestigious road in Bangkok for tourists. Everyone was tuning into that match. So apparently there was some big game there. That's what I would say in terms of other sports. And everything else wise, yeah, I mean, obviously football, you covered it very beautifully and very precisely. Everyone tuned into King streams. His watch alongs are golden. They're authentic, they're articulate, they're humorous, they're unfiltered, they're personable, they're relatable, they're great. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, it's preseason. Obviously, Formula One is what I've been thinking about because there's been a shit ton of news about Formula One, and I'm hoping our other co-host Liam will be joining the stream any minute because there's a lot of news about what's going to happen in 2026 and 2027. So King, that's what I would have to say. I think I've kind of realized my vision of what I want and what I think will happen in Formula One in the new regulation. So that's the biggest update I have.
Okay, go ahead. Let the people know what you think is happening with Formula One.
Great. So the
Be
people,
interesting.
the people, the population, King's Gang, Homo sapiens, whatever you want to call yourself. Um, I think the Formula One in the new regulations doesn't have the potential. It will be one of the greatest eras, if not the greatest era in Formula One history. I truly believe come 2027, not 2026. So, not next year, the year after next year, 1 year after regulations, we're going to have a year of madness where no methodology can describe what madness and magic we get. I think we're going to have such a competitive season whereby we have so many teams from Mercedes to McLaren, to Williams, to Aston Martin, to Ferrari, even Audi competing for race wins, competing for victory. So that's what I think will happen. And King, I truly believe deep down that Mercedes will in 2027, not 2026, by 2027, so maybe even as early as 2026, they will have a driver pairing of Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli, while Aston Martin, yes, King, because they signed Adrian Newey, someone who you consider as, I think, the most important figure in motorsport, right? Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong. Yeah.
yeah, one of them. Yes.
Beyond any driver, beyond any team principal, beyond any engineer, because they have Adrian Newey. I think Aston Martin, with the capital and the influence and the reach they have, because Aston Martin is, in terms of just the brand, massive. One of the biggest brands in motorsport history, in motor history. I think they mean business. So I think Aston Martin will sign George Russell. I think by 2027, the four major pairings will be Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli for Mercedes, George Russell and Fernando Alonso for Aston Martin, Charles Leclerc and Ollie Behrman for Ferrari, and Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri for McLaren. That's what I think will happen. And I think Audi with Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto will be competing for podiums and victories. That's my hot take.
Wow, wow. That's a lot to digest. Um, I do agree with you. I do think it's gonna be one of the better ways of Formula One. I think they're getting rid of DRS. They're allowing teams to kind of do it whenever. It's not like it's a thing where you only do it when you're in a straight or when you're in a specific spot, which is I think will allow for more competitive racing. And yeah, it'll be down to the car designs. I think Mercedes engine based cars are probably gonna be the best in class. It'll be interesting to see what Ferrari does and Aston Martin does with the Honda engine because the Honda engine can be good at times. I mean, it's the same Honda engine that propelled Red Bull to be the top team as well. So with Adrian Newey working with the Honda team, I think that's a really good partnership that could lead to something great. It'll be interesting if they do Alonso and Russell because I don't know what they will do Lance Stroll because I think it feels like he has the most secure seat in the sport at the moment. So we'll see if that actually does happen. But we do have a race coming up in this weekend, obviously with sprints and everything. How are you feeling about Spa coming up?
I can't wait. It feels better than going to a spa. I'm sorry, King. I had to use that joke. That's a dad joke, but I had to. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Spa, like Eau Rouge, probably the most famous corner in Formula One history. Eau Rouge, I would
Yeah.
say. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. It should be very fast. Obviously, in terms of track, it is the longest track on the grid. I think by some distance as well. Lap time in a perfectly dry race would be around 1 minute 53 seconds, which is nuts. I'm looking forward to it. We will see what happens. It is the penultimate race before the season break. So obviously, in terms of momentum, I think this race is crucially important for the title race between Oscar and Lando. That's a two-man race now. That's a one-team race now. With all due respect, Max Verstappen and George Russell, Red Bull and Mercedes, respectively, they are 60, 70 points, I think, off Lando Norris, King. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's all but over for them unless their teams can somehow develop the best cars for the second half of the season. And based on all the rumors, all the reports, all the speculation with substance, it doesn't look like either Honda with Red Bull for now, or Mercedes are looking to build a winning car, a title winning car, a race winning car for the second half of the season. It's all about 2026. It's all about the new regulations. It's all about the new era of Formula One. So it's a two-man race for the Formula One championship officially. That's what I truly think. You know what? That's what I know as well. So Spa will be massive because Lando Norris has now won 2 races in a row. He's coming from a win in Austria. He's coming from a win in Silverstone. And by the way, not just any type of wins, wins that have been wheel to wheel, wins that have been from qualifying to pole. So Lando Norris is in a rich vein of form, perhaps the richest vein of form. As a matter of fact, Lando Norris has never won 2 races in a row up until this point in his career. So Lando Norris, who's within 10, 15 points of Oscar Piastri, maybe even less. I don't know the number off the top of my head. Spa is massive. And for Oscar, it's rebounding time. It's time to rebound, reclaim, recalibrate his status as, hey, the favorite to win the championship, because Oscar Piastri, according to most people, not just myself, but former team principal Christian Horner, is the best McLaren driver of the lot. So yeah, Spa will be massive for the McLaren battle, but even with the rest of the grid, right? You never know what's going to happen. Spa is eerily similar to Silverstone in the sense of it can be unpredictable sometimes. Obviously 2021 King, that infamous, can I even call it a race? Just the infamous instance of half points because the weather
Oh yeah,
conditions
yeah, because it was
were
so
so
bad. Yeah.
were so treacherous, were so torturous you couldn't even have a race. So Spa, like Silverstone, expect the unexpected, but at the same time, if it is a race that is dry, no alternate conditions, no other variables affected or implicated in this race, I would expect it to be Oscar versus Lando fighting for the win. But you never know because Max Verstappen is the best driver in the grid. He can always have a say if he has a car within 2 to 3 tenths. George Russell is in a rich vein of form, and the Ferraris have race pace. So yeah, what I would say heading into Spa is expect it to be a McLaren showdown, and apart from that, those 3 teams after McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari, they will compete for the final podium spot.
Yeah, I think I do agree with your assertion. Obviously, in terms of the standings, it's an 8 point difference between Piastri and Lando, and with this being a sprint weekend, meaning it's more points. So I think even the sprint is going to be very important for these guys. I feel like if you can win both this, if you're Oscar and you win both the sprint and the race, the amount of points that you can accumulate over someone like Lando, and especially when it comes to the qualifying, I think qualifying is going to be a big factor. I think for the most part, every time you see that Lando has a good qualifying, he has a good race. But then there's times where his qualifying kind of doesn't go to plan. And I think this is one of those races where the quali lap is going to be important in both the sprint and in the main race. It's going to be very difficult to predict who will come out on top between them two. Obviously, I feel like Max doesn't have the car in particular to be able to compete in terms of the race. Maybe in the sprint, in the shorter distances, he may be able to have a more aggressive setup to allow him to compete in there. Ferraris are just here or there. You never know with them. Um, I think the Mercedes is better in the colder conditions. So I think if Spa's a colder, wetter race, I think the Mercedes will be much better. Obviously, when it comes to the heat, that's when they struggle. That's when their struggle cause the car struggles the most. If there's any rain, then you're gonna see struggling from the Ferrari because I think in the wet weather the Ferrari isn't as potent as it is in the dry. So it'll be interesting to see what the conditions are, how each driver kind of goes across the race and what will happen. I think it's going to be a very good weekend. Obviously, sprint weekends are a lot more entertaining, a lot more interesting. And yeah, it's whoever can beat the McLarens. I think McLarens are the team to beat at the moment. And you're right in saying that I think Red Bull specifically, I know for a fact are focusing on next year after the decision they made of getting rid of Horner. Obviously, there's rumors in terms of where Max could go next. He's heavily linked with Mercedes as well. Um, how do you feel about Max going to Mercedes as a whole? Is it the right move for him? Is he make the right decision, or should he stay at Red Bull? What do you think?
Look, Let me just pretend for a second, role play. I'm Max Verstappen's best friend. I am Max's best friend. I'm also his advisor. I'm also on Team Verstappen, alongside Helmut Marko and Jos Verstappen. If I'm Max, I'm telling you this simply. Max, what's your objective? What's your priority and purpose in Formula One? You're a four-time champion, officially a four-time champion in Formula One. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to break the record of most race victories? Do you want to break the record of most race wins? Same thing. Do you want to break the record of most championships? Do you want to have the most constructors championships, which nobody really wants? What do you want to do in Formula One? That's what I would say, bottom line. And based on all the sentiment that Max Verstappen has said, whether it's on streams, whether it's post races, whatever it is with Max, it seems like Max Verstappen's objective is win. And it doesn't seem like Max Verstappen's objective is win and basically claim every record in motorsport. Max has made it very clear he wants to eye retirement by 2028, 2029. I'm just going on the rumors that we have with substance. And also he says he wants to be a family man, right? He wants to grow a family with his wife, Kelly Piquet, or wife or significant other, with their stepdaughter and also the kids that they're going to have together and continuing. So that's what Max wants. Then I would ask Max, I look at your ability. Max, your ability, I think objectively, now this might be contradictory terminology-wise, but objectively, you are among the best of the best. I think everybody would without a doubt, no hesitation, no doubt, no refutation, no rebuttal at all here, terminology-wise, right? Terminology would say you are top 10 in Formula One history. And in this generation, you are definitely the best driver of your generation. No doubt about it. And if you're the best driver of your generation, and you, in a Red Bull car, if you can put 2, 3, 4 tenths on everybody else, yes, maybe the car is designed to your needs. You only deserve to be the best car. You only deserve to be competing because you're a generational talent. You're one of the greatest talents ever. So if you're Max, now we're heading into a Formula One where there are new regulations. And these aren't just new regulations from a terminology standpoint. I've said that 4 times. Terminology standpoint, but these are actually new generation regulations tangibly. And DRS is going to be removed. The way the car moves, the way the car maneuvers, the way the car overtakes, the way the car adapts, everything about the Formula One car here financially is changing. So what you need to do is, in this new regulations, be with a constructor that is able to match your own personal capability. And Red Bull, with all due respect, Christian Horner, before he got sacked, he said this overtly. He said, I don't believe Red Bull will be competing for a championship. Not verbatim, but what he said roughly. And he said he would be surprised, it would be embarrassing if Mercedes were worse than Red Bull. That's what Horner said himself. So if you're Max, I think heading into the new regulations, I'm looking at it by, hey, Maxi, I understand you have a lot of loyalty to Red Bull. Right, you've been with the Red Bull army since your inception in Formula One. Toro Rosso in your first season. You had your remarkable race victory in Brazil in 2016. But I'm like, hey, sentiment does not beat sense, right? We live in a world where results are crucial. And that Mercedes engine is expected and suspected by literally everyone and anyone in the paddock to be the most powerful manufacturer next season. And if it's not Mercedes, it will be Aston Martin. That's it. Red Bull are not supposed to be in the equation. Red Bull are in a tumbling slope. And then when you look at Red Bull's internal battle, right, as we've discussed on record, Adrian Newey, architect, gone. Jonathan Wheatley, basically the man who's spearheading the ship, gone. Christian Horner, team principal, gone. Literally every major figure with Red Bull is gone. Rob Marshall, engineer, gone. So if you're Max Verstappen, if you want to win, which I think should be your only objective as a generational talent, don't make the Fernando Alonso mistake. Do the Lewis Hamilton decision. Pick the right team. Pick the winning team. It's not being selfish necessarily. It is being selfish, but it's not being too selfish whereby they will understand you. You gave them a chance. If I'm Max, what I would do is I would sign that contract with Mercedes. I think you and Kimi would be the best partnership on the grid, because in 2 seasons' time, Kimi will definitely be one of the best drivers on the grid. I think he will be before that, and you and him already have a good relationship on a personal level. So if I was Max Verstappen King, for this long-winded answer I've given, yes, I would sign the contract with Mercedes, but I will give a caveat. I'd say if you are really unsure, because it might be your last contract in Formula One this era of your career, maybe wait until next year 2026. You might even want to play that out as a Red Bull driver before you sign the contract. But if I was to give you a yes or a no, I would say Max sign the contract with Mercedes right now.
I wouldn't tell him to sign it right now. I think the smarter decision for me personally would be to wait a year because you don't know who's going to be on top next year. It could be. It gives you more options as a driver because your contract's guaranteed for next year regardless. So after next year, you have a contract guaranteed. Then you can decide, okay, where do I want to go next? Could it be because Red Bull with Ford is gonna have to start again. They're gonna have to start fresh. That's a new engine. Ford is a new company coming in, and then you look around. Obviously, you have Audi coming in with Hulkenberg and Boratello. So you never know what they're gonna do. You don't know what the Ferrari engine's gonna be like, as well. We have rumors that the Mercedes engine will be the best, but then you also have Aston Martin, Honda, and we all know Max and Adrian knew he had a good relationship with each other, and he likes the fact that when he creates the car, he knows it's going to be one of the better cars on the grid. So I think he has all the options in the world, and I feel like if he gives it a year and sees how that first year in the 2026 goes, then you can decide, okay, which team is the next team that I go to, because then you'll see, okay, where am I in the pecking order? What teams are competing for the wins? What teams are mid-table, and what teams are just bottom feeders? And for the most part, you may even see teams that you don't expect. Could maybe a Williams could be up there. Maybe Aston Martin could be up there. Maybe it's a new team that you don't really see. And also, obviously Mercedes is the Mercedes manufacturer, but as you can see in recent years, they haven't been the best Mercedes-based team. That's been McLaren. So that's also an option for him because you never know what McLaren would want to do going forward. Because I feel like when a driver like Max is available, every team will be looking at him and deciding whether it be the right decision for them to bring him in, and then he can decide, okay, these are the three teams that are top in 2026. Which one do I want to join? Which one do I think I can add to make them better? And maybe it might be good to go early and go Mercedes, but then you never know. Mercedes may be the fourth or fifth team just because Aston Martin do their thing. Ferrari are up there as well. You may see the McLaren, Williams as well. So it's gonna be a difficult choice for him. I feel like he needs to give it a year, maybe even 6 months. I think if he waits for silly season next year, then he decides. Because I feel like if Red Bull are bad next year, this is what can happen for Max. His contract states that if he ever finishes a championship lower than third, he can go for any team. So this season he looks like he's gonna finish third, most likely, right? If next season he doesn't finish third, then he has all the options in the world. Let's say he's fifth next season. Let's say hypothetically he finishes fourth or fifth next year in 2026. He's got all the options. So he can have these conversations now, because that's what you do. You have your due diligence, you see what the thinking is. With Mercedes, okay, are you willing to let George go to bring me in? Yes or no? You go to Aston Martin. Are you willing to remove Lance Stroll for me to come in? Yes or no? You go to Ferrari. Are you willing to get rid of maybe Charles Leclerc to bring me in? Yes or no? You have those conversations. You make those contacts. You decide, okay, and then from there you can decide which team you want to be a part of. Because on a personal level, that is a comfortability that you need to have. Because if Mercedes say, "Oh, we want to partner you with George," he may say no just because on the fact that he doesn't like him like that, and he doesn't want to be in the same team as him. But if he says, "Oh, you're partnering Kimmy," as you call him, daddy of the rookies, that gives him the opportunity to kind of um look after and proceed with his kind of how you say it, his junior, his the future of the Formula One. While he's going out, Kimmy can be the next guy, and he can groom him and give him the kind of tools and understanding of what it means to be a champion, because he has that now, especially with his big up AK4 Pete, big up, big up, big up. especially with the lessons that he learned from last season, being able to compete with the faster McLaren going towards the end of the season. That last season's and the maturity of his driving in the last season and this season, for me, outside of that one incident where he got a bit angry with George, I think he's grown a lot as a person, especially having a child, being a family man, and I feel that would be good for Kimmy to be a part of. So I was watching the Women's Euros. Yeah, yeah, same here, same here. It was a good game. It was a good game. Went to penalties. Went to penalties. I'm excited for the semi-finals. I'm going to do a watch along for those games. Yeah, the Germans are through to the semi-final. They are, they are, they are. But yeah, I think, yeah, give him a year. He probably won't finish third in 2026, and then he has the pick of the litter, really, because any team will want him at that point. But I think we can move on from that. I think we can move on from Formula One. I do like your theory, especially of what you think the partnerships are going to be, but Aston Martin's a bit of a tricky one because I think Lance Stroll will still be there.
Yeah, can I just jump in real quick before we end the
Mhm.
Formula One aspect?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it will 100% depend on how serious, how legitimate, how ruthless and legitimate is Lawrence Stroll and Aston Martin. That's it. And I think the fact that they've got Adrian Newey, I think that in itself is the most important signing in motorsport. More important than Lewis Hamilton. Of course, you're not going to generate the revenue that Hamilton does, but still, that's a winning signing. Right? I don't think Adrian Newey. Let's recall. Let's be prospective, not retrospective. Adrian Newey had a choice. Ferrari offered him a contract. Let's not forget. We know as a fact Ferrari offered him a contract, and he still picked Aston Martin. I don't think he would have picked Aston Martin if it was not for, hey, they were 100%, 110% serious in this fact. So I think they will be serious. I think, King, they will follow what you said. And I love what you said last stream with Ekevin and you and me, and also the other guy who hopefully he'll join this stream. Um, I think they will make Lance Stroll the third driver. I think he'll be their reserve driver, and I think he'll be George Russell and Fernando Alonso. It makes the most sense because Toto Wolff is a guy of maintenance. He's a guy of, hey, everyone that I work with, I hope they can be successful even if I'm not with them. That's just how they operate from a PR standpoint, from a
Mm.
PR and a personable standpoint. George Russell goes to Aston Martin, and then Max and Kimi is the Mercedes duo. But you never know. I mean, maybe Kimi goes to Alpine
Let's
and
do that.
it's Max and Russell. So yeah, that's what I would have to say here. And honestly, with Formula One, you're right. But King, I just want to go on a limb and say I think Williams, because it's the first time I thought this deeply. I think Williams and Albon will get a couple race victories. Oh, I'm alone here. In a few seasons by 2027 or 2028. So that's what I think will happen. I think Williams will get some race victories. I think it will be Mercedes, it will be McLaren, it will be Williams. So the three Mercedes engine manufactured constructors plus Ferrari plus Aston Martin, who are manufactured by Honda, they will be the five best teams heading into next season. I think Verstappen, whether it's 2026 or 2027, will be a Mercedes driver, and that's what's going to happen. So, King, I can pass the baton to you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Formula One. I think Formula One will continue to end the decade as perhaps the most entertaining and enjoyable sport.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially with Verstappen being on the table very, very soon. But big up Andre for made my rent off the Usyk KO. Fair enough. I don't know how it was plus money. Yeah, man, that was a big KO, a fifth round knockout. Um,
Kevin Owens, right, King? I'm joking.
yeah, it was a KO. It was a KO. Feel bad for the French. They fought hard. Before we get into the Usyk fight, obviously, I did talk about the women Euros. Yes, the French did fight hard. I mean, the Germans also had a player sent off, and then it went to penalties. And you know, them ones there when it goes to penalties in football, it's just down based to the luck, really, of who is able to put it in the net. But we now know the semi-finals of the women's game. I will be, as I said, I'll be doing the watch-alongs for that, so I'm excited for that. It's England, Italy, and it's the Germans versus the Spanish, and it'll be interesting to see who goes through. Yeah, the Germans did. They were great with their dark arts, and that's the kind of football I like.
Always.
When you're down to 10 men, in a knockout game, your aim is just to get to penalties and see what you can do. They got to penalties, they won on penalties. Germans really rarely lose on penalties as well, regardless of whether it's the men's game or the women's game. But we move on to the big main event, Usyk versus Dubois. Were you able to catch any of it?
I was not, unfortunately. No. Big up Rasta Stocks. Brilliant to see you in the chat as well. By
Big
the
up
way,
Rasta.
I was not able to catch any of the action, but I did hear from your streams, and as I said, we'll be open the show. Everyone watching the show, please tune in to King's Watch Alongs. They are authentic, they are articulate, they are knowledgeable, they are personable, they are relatable, and I can't wait. Myself personally, I'm not a avid follower of the women's football necessarily, but King, I will tune into it. You're invigorating, you're recalibrating, you are revitalizing, you're vitalizing my spark into that aspect of the sport. So I will tune into semifinals because of your channel. That's what I can say.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But we before that, well, actually no. We will do that. We will do that. Thank you for those kind words. But yeah, the boxing, I gotta say this. I've never seen such a dominant fighter who isn't a heavyweight. Usyk for me is a cruiserweight beating up heavyweights.
He is
He
objectively.
is, yeah, and it's a madness. I think he's one of the greats of all times. After that win, he's beaten the best in his division. He's beaten up Fury. He's beaten up AJ. He's beaten up Dubois twice, and it wasn't even if it was close. It was 5 rounds of domination. His footwork was immaculate. The jabs that we was throwing, um, especially in regards to Dubois. Dubois was always in the front foot in that fight, but his counter punching, his ability to kind of keep his distance, hit him once and then get out of the pocket. I think that's what makes a great fighter. And I feel like with Usyk, with that round 5 knockout, he hit him right on the spot, he knocked out Dubois' equilibrium, and it's one of those ones where I say this. I don't know what's next for Usyk because I feel like when it comes to his division, he's fought the best and he's beaten them. He's this is the third time he's become an undisputed world champion. He's done it in 2 divisions, both in cruiserweight and heavyweight, which is unreal. And it feels like it's easy to him. And when you see someone like that, a fighter of that level, it is a madness. But I would like to Agastya. Have you seen previous fights of Usyk, and how do you feel about him as a fighter?
Absolutely. I love my boxing personally. I love it. I didn't get to catch these fights, and I think that should tell you something. When it comes to sport, guys, if there's any major sport in terms of reach, revenue, ratings, or that's in the interest, I will 100% tune in. So like the Tyson Fury versus Usyk fights, as King said, where Usyk beat Tyson Fury and quite comfortably, right? Let's be quite
Yeah,
honest here.
yeah.
You're right. Usyk's footwork for his size, for his height, everything about Usyk seems so uncharacteristic. It seems so inordinate, yet it is so effective. Yet it is so remarkable. So kudos to Usyk. Not surprised he beat Daniel Dubois. Who is Dubois' fight manager, by the way? Is it Eddie Hearn?
No, I think it was the
Frank
other
Warren?
one,
Frank
Warren. Yeah, I
Warren.
think it was a Warren fight,
Okay,
Queensbury.
interesting. Okay, so it's Frank Warren. Yes, that's Frank Warren for sure. Yeah, I'm not surprised Usyk won. I think for sure Usyk has to all time, and I understand. Look, I don't want to get political, but there is obviously a heavy British bias, and there are people that would say Tyson Fury's legacy surpasses Usyk's. I don't think that's the case. I think Usyk is, as you said, not only the best cruiserweight, but the best heavyweight of this generation for sure. Right, King? Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
definitely, and
Yeah,
the way he beat him in 5 rounds was the thing for me because it's like put it this way against Fury, those fights went long. So
yeah.
you think, okay, it could go either way. When it comes to boxing, if it's not a knockout, it's up to the judge's discretion. But he was dominant in both of those fights. He's unbeaten, 24 wins, no losses, 9 by decision, 15 by knockout. But to beat him at Dubois' home at Wembley Stadium in that such of a manner, for me, it just
Domination.
it's dominant. It's dominant. You've beaten Dubois, as I said. You've beaten the three best English boxers twice: Dubois, Fury, Joshua, the best of the English. Beating up Chisora as well. Beating
What
up
about
Bailey.
Chris? What about Chris Eubank Jr.? I'm just kidding.
So in terms of the best heavyweights, he's done it all. I think the only one he hasn't really faced is Wilder, but he's that man's not the
No,
same anyway. So I don't know what is next for him. I feel like at this point, whoever it's just about who. You know what the annoying thing about boxing is, and is that yeah, he's the undisputed champion, but it's near impossible to keep all those belts because there's always need for a guaranteed contender, and if you don't fight someone who's a contender within a specific time, you lose those belts. So being undisputed is very rare, but to do it twice in the same division, once in the cruiserweight division, it's a level of quality from a fighter that no one really expected to be at that level. It's crazy.
big up,
Big up,
brother.
Adam. Big up, big up. So for me, like it comes like this specifically, especially when it comes to him, is that he breaks the norm, and that's what we talk about. When the group, when there's some, when you're watching greatness, they break the norm. They do something
Sub, can I add my phrase? Sorry, subvert the status quo.
exactly.
Yeah,
Big up Joshy J for the raid. Big up Joshy J.
legend, brother.
Brilliant. Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. When someone subverts the status quo, because someone his size isn't meant to be beating up these guys. Someone his size isn't even meant to kind of be in the ring with these big heavyweights. But not only is he in the ring with them, not only is he beating them up, not only is he with precision, not only is his feet work is unreal. He's probably one of the best fighters
Can
in my
sorry,
lifetime I've seen.
sorry, I hate to do this. Can I do the second interruption for the segment?
No problem.
You're gonna
Go
like this.
ahead.
I know you will. You know who he reminds me of, King?
Mm,
Nikola Jokic.
yes. Yep.
Now
Yes.
continue.
Yes. That's another guy where you look at him and you say he's not meant to be the best basketballer in the world. You know,
Yep.
Nikola Jokic is a guy who's big, chubby. He doesn't even like basketball like that. He's
Nicky
always wanting.
D's. Or phrasing.
He's always wanting to go home. He's like, uh, big you up as well. Oh, big up AK. Yeah, big up AK in the building as well. He's one of those kind of guys that for me, especially when it comes to Jokic, is he doesn't really like basketball. Once the game's over, he says, "Can I go home and play with my horses?" That's all he really wants to do. So it's when you see these guys that are uncharacteristic for what you expect from that division as a heavyweight, smaller, quick feet, but a mega puncher, and to be able to knock out these guys and not just knock out, but beat them with precision. On and
Knocked out.
yeah, and he was getting back down for most of the fight. Dubois was the aggressor, but what he did was anytime he came close, hit him out, got out the pocket, and did it again. And then the way he finished him in round 5, for me, some of the best boxing I have seen. Um, do I think he is now probably the pound for pound best boxer around?
Some say Canelo.
Some might say Canelo, some might say Canelo, but for me, to be able to a cruiserweight in a heavyweight division, for me, it's him. I think this run of fights that he's been on, where he's beaten the best of the British and some of the best in the world, I don't think there's anything else he can do. If he retires today, that's a Hall of Fame career. That if he retires today, he's already making the boxing Hall of Fame, and it'll be very interesting to see how far he goes. And I've no doubt that if he goes long enough, he can easily go 50-0. I don't. It's going to be very rare for someone to beat him, regardless of what division he decides to fight in, and if he decides to continue fighting. And you have to add the added pressure of the fact that back home in his home country they're at war right now. So you had the pressure of dealing with that with your family. You have the pressure of people telling you what you can and can't do as a cruiserweight, and you go through all of those things, whether it be personal and professional, and he comes out on the top every single time, uh, and in such class. And yeah, man, it's unreal. It was an unreal event today. A lot of great boxing in that, and yeah, man, Usyk, he's one of a kind. There's not really much else I can say about him. Yeah, there's not much else I can say. It'll be interesting to see how much longer he does go on for. Obviously, he's 38. You know, boxing sport in general, you have a finite amount of time you can be on the top, especially when it comes to age. There's always someone younger, hungrier coming up. But for the next couple years, I think he'll be the top fighter. And for me, it's between him and Canelo for pound. But I'm just gonna put him just ahead. Maybe recency bias, but yeah.
100%, no doubt about that. I mean, he's beat the best of the best. He's beaten everyone, pound for pound, his division, cruiserweight, heavyweight, whatever it is. Usyk, despite all the media pressure, despite all the ratings, despite the lack of marketing and reputation and reverence, Usyk is stood tall. And as you said, with the adversity dealing with the war against Russia in the East, it has been nothing short of tremendous, nothing shy of tremendous. So kudos to him. Can I just show this real quick? This graphic. I don't know if this counts as sports talk. I think it does.
Yeah, you can show it. Go ahead.
I just opened my phone for 1 second, and I went to TikTok. Do you want to talk about this or no?
Oh, we can talk about it.
So I'm just seeing TikTok. I just want to see what the people are talking about. Um, this is what everyone is saying for WrestleMania. What can I ask you? What do you think of this? So we're saying OTC 1 versus obviously QB 1.
I think we've talked about this on our wrestling show before.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about it again. But I'll quickly Usyk. We can go band for band, round for round. Yep, he is like that. He is like that. But you know what?
I heard that song at the club so much. You're gonna make me man. Come on.
But yeah, you know what? We can pivot. We can pivot into wrestling entertainment. You know, this is sports talk. We can pivot. For me, I think that has to be the fight, because the issue with WWE in general, and this is the problem that they have at the moment, is they're not building up their stars, and obviously Seth Rollins got injured, so he's out of the picture for now. So what do you think? And Roman Reigns has came back. What do you think the two guys that you want to see the most at WrestleMania? It's them two. Obviously you see that he's having his fight with John. But what I want it to be is a heel Cody versus a tweener face Roman. That's what it needs to be. It needs to be the opposite. It needs to counteract previous fights. It needs to be something different. It can't be the same thing. It can't be, because when it comes to WrestleMania and it comes to those big events, especially the last one wasn't good enough. The last one was, for on purpose, one of the worst ones I've ever seen in my lifetime. Are absolutely terrible. So the next one needs to be levels. They need to pick up. It can't be ruined by The Rock. It can't be ruined by TKO. It can't be a business thing. It has to just be based on what the fans want to see and pure wrestling. And I think, and that's the other thing that I sometimes hate about boxing, is that it's very rare that you see. Oh, you know what? Big shout out to Saudi Arabia and a Riyadh season, because ever since they've came along and the money they put in, now we're seeing the best first face the best. Because in the past, it would take forever for a Mayweather to fight a Pacquiao before it's too late, before they're both past their primes. But now the best are fighting the best. We're getting better fights than ever. And you can see boxing has become more popular than ever, because you know why? Because what people want to see is the best face the best in their primes and see who's the top dog. Because it's okay to lose in boxing. You can get back up, you can get back on the horse, and Dubois can re-establish himself and then come back for the round three. He has the ability to do that. That's what's great about boxing, about fighting in general, is that when you lose, it's not just the story from losing to coming back is just as great as the story from starting from nothing and making your way to the top in the first place. And he was a world champion as well. So you know that is possible. So that's what I like about boxing now, is that with Riyadh season, they're making the top fights. And that's what you want to see from wrestling. Because in the end of the day, fake or not, whatever, it's entertainment. And entertainment has to be the best versus the best in the best storylines. And the storylines have to make sense for me. Because if it doesn't make sense, if people aren't given the time to show their ability, then it goes wrong. like as we talked about last weekend when it came to Saturday night main event compared to Evolution was entertainment. Saturday night main event was boring. Why? Because it was the best wrestling that you saw in terms of WWE. Even with NXT, it was better than Saturday night main event for me because it was top quality storylines going into great wrestling. And when you see the best wrestle in the main event for the women, when it was Io Sky versus Rhea, you saw the two of the best in the business at the moment. You know, outside of in WWE, obviously outside you got the Tony Storms and people like that, but the two best in WWE go at it and you have a good event. So for me, that's what I want to see. I want to see the best versus the best, regardless of what sport it's at. And I'm happy for Riyadh's season because we're getting to see that with boxing, and that's what I want to see with my wrestling as well. Because in the end of the day, I'm watching sports to be entertained. Sports is entertainment, regardless of what sport it is. You want the best facing the best. That's why for example, basketball. We talk about basketball all the time, and the playoffs. You know why the playoffs were boring? Because it wasn't the best versus the best. It wasn't the best teams. It wasn't the best players.
Where's
It
my
wasn't.
daddy, LeBron James? I'm joking.
It wasn't top five talent in
Yeah.
in the finals. You didn't see a Luka, you didn't see a Jokic, you didn't see a Giannis, you didn't see the top talent in that final. It's not as entertaining. Not as many people are gonna watch it. Obviously, Shea is an up and comer. He may be top 10, whatever. And Indiana was the miracle team, but it's not as entertaining when you see the top. Why do you think basketball was at its height when it was the Warriors versus the Cavs? Because it's the best versus the best. It's KD
LeBron.
versus LeBron. It's Kyrie versus Curry. It's the best versus the best, and that's when sport is at its best, and that's what I want to see more often, and that's what we need when it comes to whether it be basketball, boxing, tennis, football. So even with tennis, some people may hate Sinner for what he's done in the past, but let's be honest, if Sinner wasn't around, it's just going to be Carlos Alcaraz winning everything, and that's boring. So as
Yeah.
much as people can have a negative light on Yannick Sinner, for example, that's another example. The last two finals with him and Alcaraz have been some of the best tennis I've seen
Cinema.
in a very long time. And you know what? Let's pivot. Tennis. Last two majors finals. Sinner, Alcaraz, you're a big tennis man. You have a show with Kevin AN Sports that you do. How did you feel about that last final?
Hold on.
In your
Wait.
personal opinion?
Wait. Don't worry. You want to know how big of a tennis fan I am? Look at this thing. I
Yeah,
literally have, to those watching, I'm a Roger Federer super fan. He's my favorite athlete ever. He's the one I aspire the most. Look, yeah, how did I honestly, and I said this to my dad, I said this to my sister, tennis to me is the sacred sport. Football is obviously my favorite sport. Everyone knows that if you've watched any of my streams. But tennis is the one sport to me where it's home. It's the one that I've known for my whole life. I'm 19. I'm going to be 20 this time next week. Tennis is the sport that I resonate with the most relatable, the most personable for me. I love tennis, but there was a point, I must say, at the beginning of this decade. I've watched it ever since I was a kid, ever since I've done shows. Wait, let me show this one sec. Can I just 1 sec? Wait, okay.
Yeah, no problem. Let the people know.
Exactly, that's the story. You guys see this? This is I used to do a show called The Weekly Sports Show. I don't know if any of you saw it. I highly doubt it, but if you did, big up to you, the ultra legend on steroids on the chat. There was a time when I was super worried about tennis. It was when Federer had his knee issues, his arthroscopic injury issues. Rafa was tailing off. It was Novak and a very weak era. I was worried. I was like, tennis is not only becoming a foregone conclusion, but I'm looking at the future. I'm like, who can take over the mantle? Is it Medvedev? Is it Tsitsipas? Is it Sasha? And I like all three of those guys. No problem. They're all funny. They're all entertaining. Their personalities are beautiful. No doubt about that. But in terms of tennis players, their level is not even an iota as high as Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic. In comes Alcaraz, in comes Sinner. And King, you mentioned the last two finals, Wimbledon and French Open. They have completely revitalized and ignited the fire in the sport. And not only have they done that, they're going to expand how beautiful the sport is in terms of reach, in terms of enjoyment, in terms of relatability, which is remarkable. So kudos to Alcaraz and Sinner. Now what I would say is this, I'm gonna go a step further. I think Sinner had to win that Wimbledon final. Because if Sinner did not win that Wimbledon final, King, I know you and I spoke about this privately. Alcaraz would have won the last 6 meetings between Alcaraz and Sinner. And then Alcaraz would have won 6 Grand Slams to Sinner's 4 Grand Slams. Now, because Sinner won that Wimbledon final, Sinner has 4 Grand Slams, King, I think it is. Yeah. I think it's
Let me check. I think let me check.
because he won the Aussie and 2 US Opens.
I think it
Or
would have been. It was
oh,
his,
Aussie's 1 US Open. Yeah, it's
his
4.
third. It was his fourth. It was fourth. Yeah, it's
So
fourth.
it's 2 Aussies, 1 US Open, 1 Wimbledon.
Yeah,
And to Alcaraz's 5. Now we have a rivalry.
yeah.
Because if Alcaraz won that match, right?
That would have been
Alcaraz,
his seventh if he won it.
yeah, it would have been Alcaraz's 6th. 7th would have been the US Open with that confidence.
Oh yeah, sixth. Yeah, sixth.
So yeah, and to win not just 6 Grand Slam, but 6 matches in a row against Sinner, dude, for confidence, tennis is all about mental strength, mental fortune. Life is about that, but especially at that high level, those are the fine margins, right? Sinner lost 3 championship points to Alcaraz at the French. That would have been a nightmare on steroids. I'm not even going to use Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm not even going to give Freddie, what's his name? Shoot, I forgot. King, do you know what I'm talking about?
Freddy Krueger.
Yes, Freddy Krueger. Thank you. Dead by Daylight. Freddy Krueger. It would be worse than that. Honestly, it would be worse than that. So the fact that Sinner won was so quintessential to tennis, even though I was rooting for Alcaraz, and we have a rivalry. We have a rivalry that can compete on all 4 Grand Slams. These two have won every Grand Slam since January of last year. That is what, 7 Grand Slams? Amongst the both of them, they've won 9, King, I think.
Yeah, 9-9, 5-4.
Which is nuts. And
Yeah,
what?
it is.
Alcaraz is 2022.
Alcaraz is 22. Sinner is 23.
Dude, the ceiling is beyond the sky. But that begs the question, can they sustain it? Among the two of them, I think Alcaraz is the better player. I think Alcaraz can play every shot in the book. In terms of pure talent, I'm just saying this. Look, King, we've had this discussion. GOAT versus best of all time. I think there's a difference between greatest and best, right? When it comes to the greatest of all time, my strongest arguments are the greatest is ability, apex, accomplishments, impact. Those and career. Those are my arguments for the GOAT. The best of all time is who is the best player at the peak of their powers. That's the difference for me. And I think the best argument is a little bit easier to solve because every generation in almost every sport, you get better, right? With sports science, with nutrition, with longevity, with all those factors. I think the 2 best players that I've watched in my 19 years of living have been Federer and Alcaraz. And that's saying something. Djokovic is my GOAT, no doubt about that. No doubt whatsoever. But Alcaraz, I don't think there's a shot he can't pull off. I don't. And his mental strength is on a different level. It's far stronger than Sinner. It's far stronger than Federer. It's far stronger than Rafa Nadal as well. So to me, Alcaraz is that best player by far of this generation. I also think he's the greatest player as well when you factor in impact, when you factor in ability, when you factor in cross-surface ability, right? Alcaraz has done the Channel Slam once. He's won more Grand Slams. He's won almost more Masters. But honestly, this is a rivalry for the future. I think the reason it makes it a rivalry is because Sinner, when it comes to durability and reliability, he is much better than Alcaraz. That's it. It's almost like Federer and Djokovic in a way, right? Federer is the better player. King, I think you would agree with me on that, right? Pure ability.
Pure ability, I would say Federer.
But across their careers, it would be Djokovic. He's more durable.
Yeah, he lasted a bit longer.
Exactly. Even though Federer had a better end to his career, but he's more durable, he's more reliable. So that's why I would say this is a rivalry. And also Sinner, by the way, I know we're in the generation of AI. Sinner is the personification of AI in sports. That guy, my goodness, he's relentless, he's ruthless, he is robotic.
Yeah, and I would say he has the better serve as well for me personally. When I'm watching that match, he had the better serve. And I think that was the difference maker for that one in Wimbledon. Yeah. I think that's the issue that Alcaraz had is that going forward, if he wants to beat Sinner in these finals, he needs to perfect that serve. I think that's the one thing. Everything else was elite by him, but his first serve level wasn't up to par to win a final, and that's the difference between winning and losing. And I think that was the thing that happened at Wimbledon. And but yeah, I do agree. Like Alcaraz has the ability, but in terms, I would say this though, in terms of mentality, his mentality faltered a little in that Wimbledon final, and that was the issue as well. So as much as he has a great mentality, sometimes he does go a little, and he doesn't last in terms of long matches. So the longer a match goes, I think Sinner is more potent than him. I would say.
Can I ask you, do you think his mentality lasted, or was it, well, this is a part of his mentality, but do you think it was his mental strength, or was it his overall focus? Because the number one issue I have with Alcaraz is the lapse in concentration. Because mentality
Mm,
wise, I have no doubt, but he lapses so many times. When you look at not just the match, but the whole tournament, even the first round, the first, second, the third round with Alcaraz at Wimbledon, if you just do a quick Google search, he went to 5 sets. In
yeah,
almost all of his matches, he was pushed to the brink. Whereas Sinner, as you said, King, Wimbledon is a fast court. It's a fast surface. ELO, which is the metric for court speed, ELO is among the highest, right? That's why we've
mm,
seen historically the likes of Pete Sampras. Pete Sampras and Federer, because their serves are among the best in human history, in tennis history, they perform well. Big servers perform well at Wimbledon because you can't return the serve, basically. Serve and volley combo, deadly. When it comes to Alcaraz, and Sinner's serve is imperious, as you said, King. But the problem with Alcaraz is he does not sustain that level across an entirety of a match. And something is going on privately. Because if you look at him, he's won what? One Grand Slam, King, in the last 1.5 years. One Grand Slam since Wimbledon last year. No,
yeah.
actually, he's not won. Yeah, won. Yeah, French Open. He's won one Grand Slam since Wimbledon, since the French Open last year. There is something going on with Alcaraz. His mental strength is not as strong. So I hope whatever the issue is, Carlos, you deal with it. And just I want you to know, if anyone of your team is watching this, who knows? You never know. Um, in terms of pure ability, you are remarkable. You are one of one in your generation. I think you're only second to one, Roger Federer, all time. But your lapses in concentration are costly. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I feel that that's the thing that gets him is the concentration. I feel like when it came to the semi-finals, because Yannick's one was so dominant over Djokovic, whereas Alcaraz had to struggle against Fritz. I think the tiredness factor is also a factor that you have to kind of look into when it comes to him. Is that he gets, as I said, he gets tired quicker, and what a tired person is more likely to have those mental lapses. Because the more tired you are, the more the mentality kind of goes. Big up, Adam. Big up, Adam. But yeah, I feel like you're right. You're right. I feel like there is something happening in the background for him because for me, even watching the match with him and Sinner, he was doing a lot more talking than Sinner. Sinner seemed to be in the zone, especially towards the end of the like once the first after the first set and the game started to go a bit longer. Alcaraz seemed to be a bit more talkative, seemed to be a bit more frustrated with his poor first serve, and as that kind of carried on, it kind of led to him lose the match because he had multiple double faults, which you don't really expect for someone of his level to do. He had more aces, but the double faults for me was the problem. Is that you can't afford to have 7, 8 double faults in a final match because it's the unforced errors that got him. Also, he also did that little dink shot, a little too much as well. I feel like there was times where he could have just smashed it. He could have just ended a point, but he
He
tried to
was a
be clever.
showman. He was
Yeah,
a showman, not a superstar.
he tried to be a bit too clever at times, and he failed a couple times hitting the net. So those were the two things I noticed: is that the lapse of concentration, the poor serve at points, and the little dink shots that didn't work out. And he tried it a bit too many times. Sometimes they were perfect, other times it wasn't to the level it needed to be. Some because I feel like some when you're trying to be a showman enough, I think the final's not the place to be a showman. I think the final's the place to just I need to finish this guy because I know you're playing not the world number one. He's probably the only guy. in terms of tennis that can outright beat you or outright out kind of hit you in any kind of service game, and it's up to you to not make the mistakes that you did, and those mistakes lost you the last three sets, and that's the crazy thing about it for me. But going forward, these two are they're gonna face each other again. Hopefully, it's mostly in finals because you don't really want to face the. I feel like if they face each other in quarters and semis, then the finals are a foregone conclusion, unless maybe Djokovic turns up one time. But for the most part, I feel like it will be very difficult. But we'll move on from tennis. We've spoken about tennis, basketball, Formula One. Is there any other things on your mind that you would like to talk about?
No, we've covered 6 sports, King. I mean, I guess the only thing we didn't cover is, if I'm looking holistically, it is the British Open, right? Golf.
Oh, I'm not into golf like that, but you
You're
can
not.
tell me. You can
I do
tell me.
watch
You know what?
golf.
I'm willing to learn. I do watch the Ryder Cup. I like it when it's Europe versus US. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm
I
into
mean,
that.
Ryder Cup is synonymous with golf. It's like, for tennis fans, it's the Labour Cup, except if the Labour Cup had actual meaning and
Yes,
purpose.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty
That's
much.
what
I
it
like
is.
that. I like watching that. But golf is more fun to play than watch at times. You know, if you go to like a golf course, if you go to a driving range, that's always fun to do. But no, but go ahead. Tell the people. There's
So yeah,
people that are probably interested in it.
I'm just mentioning it because golf is one of the major sports. Of course, we can never dismiss it. And honestly, I watch golf. I watched Rory's victory at the Masters earlier this year. I was watching it play by play. It was genuinely one of the most remarkable and extraordinary moments as a sports fan I've ever witnessed. I'm just looking at the results right now. I usually watch the final day. Scotty Scheffler, who is, I think, number one anyways on the tour today. I think his world ranking is quite high, alongside the likes of John Rahm. He is minus 14 heading into the day 4 of the British Open. He is 4 strokes ahead of the Chinese golfer, who I don't want to butcher his name, Li Haotong. And so Scotty Scheffler has a quite comfortable and a commanding lead of the British Open. He is looking to win his 4th major title, I think, with this British Open title. But Rory McIlroy is not too far behind. He is tied in 4th place. And apart from that, yeah, it's going to be very close. It'll be a close finish for the British Open. But for those watching, yes, it looks like Scotty Scheffler is going to win a 4th major title at the British Open.
Oh, that is crazy. 4th. Okay, cool. I think no, you know what? I forgot one more thing. Cricket's around India, England is happening at the moment. England are up 2-1. Obviously, the next test is in Wednesday. Me personally, I prefer 2020 cricket. I like it when it's short, quick, and they're
You and
trying to
me
hit the
both,
ball,
King.
trying to hit the ball as fast as possible. But I feel I don't know who it was. I think it was Bush Baptist who were telling me how unlucky India was in the last game. So I do believe that overall India should win in the long run. I do want England to win. I don't know why. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with England to win it all, but I think India
I agree
will.
with you.
My head says India, my heart says England. I don't know why. That's how I'm feeling. And yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens in match 4. I used to watch cricket a lot back in the day. I used to watch the Ashes a lot. I used to like that as well.
Yes.
England,
Without it.
Australia, Ashes. Um, I used to be like in school break time, just go on the TV and watch watch
Wow.
the
You're a
cricket.
legend.
Watch
No
the
wonder
cricket.
you have the knowledge you have.
But it'll be in this is a sport that I do want to get back into it. In the future, me and AK Vinay and Sports are gonna do some watch alongs for it, especially with the Asia Cup
I would,
coming along. And
guys, I would
and
love to get into cricket as well.
yeah, definitely. And then the Cricket World Cup, the 2020 Cup's coming in the new year. So that'll be something maybe going forward that I get back into as well. I'm trying to get it back into all the old sports that I used to love. Cricket, tennis, rugby, especially union. Not
Mm.
so much league. League is a bit too much like American football for me because it's just tackle, then you just stop. Whereas union is just go, go, go. So that's probably the biggest difference between those two. But I think I think that's enough for today. Is there any other things you'd like to say before we go? Any last thoughts?
I mean, King, I think we've covered at least 8 sports today. 8, 9 sports. I feel like the
Yeah.
only sport I'm thinking that we haven't covered is probably an NFL analogy, but you just mentioned one.
To be honest, NFL is not about yet.
Yeah.
Shador Sanders, I'm looking forward to see how he does. I hope he does get a start at some point during the season.
I
To be
mean,
honest, I think he's their best QB for the Browns, but are they going to use him? I don't know. And
I hope
be interesting to see if Eagles go back to back for the Super Bowl.
as a Browns fan, I hope you're right. I hope we do use him because I think in terms of ceiling, he has the highest ceiling by far among all the quarterbacks. Which, by the way, we have a good set of quarterbacks. We really do have a good set of quarterbacks. We have depth there, we have strength there, but obviously, I would take him. He could have been number one draft pick, of course, King. But if it wasn't for internal politics and relationship with his father, he would have been number one. But I'm happy we got him.
Yeah. Oh, I do have one more question though. NBA is going to be back around very soon. Who do you have coming out of the East and the West as like an early prediction, especially with some of the moves? Obviously, KD to the Rockets, Dame going back home. Obviously, the big move of what's the Pacers center to
Turner to the Bucks.
Turner to the Bucks as well. What do you think? Who's coming out the East and West? You got as early predictor.
I'll just say this straight up. NBA Fantasy, our league, I have myself winning for the 7th year in a row. That's what I'll say. First of all, I've never lost, so I'm just going to continue that prediction. But in terms of the other NBA, the less relevant one, I have, in terms of East versus West, I love it. Thank you for putting me on the spot. First time I'm giving my prediction for this upcoming season. I don't know. Can I give you my contenders? Can I give you my contenders for each
Yeah,
conference?
give a couple contenders and then pick one of them.
Okay. For the West, I think my contenders are obviously OKC champions, no doubt about that. Timberwolves back-to-back conference finals, no doubt about that. Jokic, best player in his conference. I would not write off the Lakers. Now people can say I'm sentimental. King and I are super huge Luka fans. If you've watched us, you know that as a fact. Those are my 4 contenders to get out of the West. I'm not mentioning Dallas. I know people want me to mention Dallas. I don't think they will. Kyrie is not fit. Kyrie and AD asking them to both be fit is like asking a person without any physical exercise to climb Mount Everest. It's not going to happen. It's very unlikely. That's what I would say. And then when it comes to the East, look, Ekevin, you might be watching this. Maybe I will mention Boston. I think you can definitely get out even without Tatum. Your team is so strong. I'm not going to pick you. Pacers, I would pick if Tyrese was fit. I'm not going to pick you. I will say the Knicks. I think Knicks are heavy favorites. I think the Cavs with experience. Knicks, Cavs, Bucks with Giannis. Yeah, those are my 3 teams. So among those, if I had to pick an early contender, I don't know. Shoot. I don't know. King, you're putting me on the spot. I really don't know because it could be so unpredictable, but I'll go with my heart. I'll say Knicks. I'll say the Knicks, my early contenders from the East. And I'll say from the West, OKC.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. I'll just quickly say mine as well. I'm not gonna say contenders. I'm just gonna go out and write and just early on what I think is gonna be the final. I'm gonna go Rockets versus Cavs. I think that's gonna be the NBA final.
Oh my god, I forgot about KD. Sorry. Yes, can I just make my amendment? I forgot
Yeah.
Rockets. My goodness, I forgot about that completely. Okay, fine. I have Rockets as my top 4. Fine, I'll have Rockets and Knicks. Rockets. Okay.
Yeah, I got Rockets and Cavs. I think Cavs will come back strong. I think if they're healthy, they'll be up there, and then the Rockets. So for me, Rockets, Cavs. Yeah, especially because with the East, Indiana's they don't have Halliburton. Celtics don't have Jason Tatum.
Bucks
The
don't
Bucks
have
are
Tatum. Bucks don't have Lillard.
yeah, Bucks have lost Lillard. 76ers are too unpredictable as well. So a lot of the bigger teams in the in the East are unpredictable. But I know the Cavs are going to be up there. So I think Cavs and then Houston. I think adding KD without losing so much was a masterstroke. That for me, in terms of a one season, are we gonna go for it all? I think they can do it. So I even have Houston probably winning it next year, in my opinion. But that's what I'm gonna go for. But that's as teams currently constructed. Plus, I do like the Clippers team, but they're unks, so they're gonna get injured a lot. We will
Unks,
see.
don't disrespect. I'm literally an uncle. I'm not even 20. I'm an uncle. Don't disrespect me. They're the grandfathers. Come on.
Nah, they're
Come
they're
on.
the Unk team.
They're worse. They're worse. They're older.
Uh, they just need to add Westbrook to that team, and then they'll be there. But yeah,
They'll be
we'll see.
safe.
We'll see. We'll obviously have NBA shows going in the future on AN Sports as well. Big up Agastya for coming on late. Obviously, he's been out, and yeah.
I mean, you can see the sun. You can anyone watching, you can rewind to the start of the show, completely dark. Now it's fully bright.
Yeah, it's a crazy time over there. It's a crazy time over there. But this has been the Sports Talk. African King, Agastya. We talked about different plethora of sports. Big up to everyone who came in. Adam Lord as well. Adam the 2025. Adam Lord, AK4 Pete. Big up Joshy J again for the raid. Andre as well. Kai Talks United. All of you people, thank you for coming along as well. But we're out, people. Peace.
9 sports. Yeah.